High Velocity Wrestling is a professional wrestling promotion based in Western North Carolina. HVW's events provide a family atmosphere featuring old school pro wrestling with a modern day flair, giving a little something for everyone. Hey, what is up? Welcome to the HVW Podcast, the official podcast for High Velocity Wrestling. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and we're here to give you the latest HVW news, exclusive interviews, and some fun pro wrestling conversation. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The links are available in the episode's description. No, I don't have that memorized. That's lazy, kids. What's up? Happy New Year to you, one and all. Happy 2021. Aren't you glad 2020's in the rear view? Brother, I am, because it sucked. Right? Am I right? Or am I right? I'm right. Shut up. How's everybody doing out there? Happy Tuesday to you. I'm catching up on night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom 15, New Japan Pro Wrestling. We here at HVW officially endorse New Japan World streaming service. Go get it. It's 999 yen per month. Who's got that kind of cash? Good news for you. In American dollars, that's $9.99 a month. Can't beat that, right? I don't know if we officially endorse it, but it's freaking fun. You should go check it out. It's freaking great pro wrestling. How about I actually officially endorse it? All right, back to the show. This episode is sponsored by New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's really not. Don't go telling anybody that. So yeah, hope you guys are doing great. As is almost always the case here with the official High Velocity Wrestling podcast, we just tend to do stuff on the fly. Well, guess what? We're flying once again, and it's all good, man. So before we go any farther, I know what you're thinking. Do we have to look at your ugly mug the whole time? No, you don't, because you got another ugly mug to look at. Let's bring him in, the HVW owner promoter, Gary Benfield. How's that for an intro?
How do you call it ugly? Ugly?
How's that for an intro, man?
Man, hey, dude, it couldn't get no better than that. That's as honest as it can be, brother.
So how you doing, man? Doing all right?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Brother, I got coffee. I got Japan wrestling. I'm getting ready to talk some HVW with you, and so things are great. As
Yes,
I said,
sir.
2020's in the rear view, and we're all happy about that. So
Absolutely.
Thank God.
Yes, sir, man. I'm so glad to get 2020 in the rear view.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So this is the first time we've gone live in the new calendar year. The last podcast, I think, was the week before Christmas. And hope everybody out there had a great holiday season.
Yes.
It was pretty good in the house of Clark. So I don't have a whole lot to complain about. We're all still kicking. That's a good thing. And busy holiday season as it is for everybody. It was busy for yours truly as well. But we're back to talk some pro wrestling. We're back to talk some cool stuff. When I pitched this idea to you, you seem to be all on board. Let's go ahead and get some banners up so we know, the people know what the freak we're talking about here. Let me get to the right location. Don't say that I'm not ready. Maybe I wasn't ready. There we are. The ticker is ticking, kids. If you're just listening to the audio version of this show, man, are you missing out? Because this is some fun stuff. So the ticker is ticking, and this weekly topic is big men in pro wrestling.
That's right. Big man.
Big men. The big men in the business. You and I, dude, have often talked about the way things were when we were kids growing up watching the Jim Crockett promotions. Big men used to rule this business. Maybe not 7-foot guys, but big, burly, barrel-chested, hair everywhere. Harley Race and Ole Anderson, the real man's man.
The everyday man.
The everyday man. They used to be what everyone looked like.
These guys didn't live in the gym, man. They weren't, they weren't, working out all the time, running, jogging, whatever. These cats were wrestling 7 nights a week, man, from one town to another, one arena to another.
And Not shaving their chest. No baby oil happening with these guys.
No, sir, not shaving nothing.
Nothing. I would think probably Lex Luger may have been one of the first guys I could recall to come in looking like that. I mean, that I can remember anyway.
You know, dude, even the Road Warriors had hairy chests.
Yeah, I think Hawk started shaving before Animal did.
Yep.
I don't know if the Animal ever did. But dude, even when Luger was in Florida Championship Wrestling, which was it Florida Championship Wrestling or Championship Wrestling for Florida? Either way, when he was in Florida, Luger had a beard. He was a little gruff, but when he got to Crockett, suddenly he was polished and he looked like a Hollywood, movie star come to life, man.
Hey, dude, real quickly, I don't mean to change the subject, but did you happen to see the documentary thing that come on that Reels network about Hogan this past weekend?
I did not catch that. No.
You need to check that out. I'm not a Hogan guy, but it's pretty interesting.
Well, they're making the film about him, and Thor's playing Hogan, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, I do know that.
And he's getting big. He said that he's never been this big in his entire life, but he's got to get those arms big, man. So,
well, dude, I mean, Hogan was a monster. This little documentary thing on Reels was interesting about the early part of his career. You should check it out.
I think I'll have to do that. Let's get some hellos out of the way here. Crystal Jackson saying hello to us. Thanks for hanging out.
What up, girl?
Ivan Righteous thinks I'm going to put his name on here. I don't know. That's your call. You're the boss.
Look, we don't need the Chiliva. Look, Chuck, we love you. Lie.
Speak for yourself, brother.
Yeah. What up, Nathan?
As I've said before, I have no issue with Chuck. It's the other guy I have an issue with. So
yeah. It's
Sugar Shane Odom. What's up, my friend?
What up, Sugar Shane?
Sure, that's what I'm calling him. I'm starting to give the fans on the main event some nicknames, dude. I'm trying to spice it up.
Watch out now.
So mentions Cowboy Ron Bass, Phil Hickerson, some of his favorite heels. Shane's an old school guy like we are, man.
Yes,
he can go way back with his references. So
what about old Stan the Man Hansen?
Oh, let me just tell you something right now. I got a bunch of names on tap that we're going to get to, a whole bunch of names. And even with all the names I got on tap, we'll probably have left somebody out. Before we get too deep in the weeds here, we want to talk about this big man who we recently lost, unfortunately, John Huber, age 41, also known to fans as Mr. Brody Lee of the Dark Order, and Luke Harper of the Wyatt family. Dude, did you ever get a chance to meet Brody?
No, I never did.
I like, and I mean, honestly, you're probably going to be able to agree with me on this. I never heard one bad thing about this guy from anybody, ever.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know, man. Just things I've read, I didn't when he broke into WWE. I wasn't really watching then, but when he came over to AEW is when I really started seeing what he could do, and I went back and watched some of the stuff he did as Luke Harper in WWE, and this big man could go.
Yes, he could. And he could talk. We didn't know he could talk. Vince wouldn't let him talk.
That's what I was about to say. And how WWE let that talent escape from their roster, I have no idea.
And, Brody never badmouthed that company. He never said an ill word about him. He never dissed Vince. He never did a shoot video. He basically just said, hey, they weren't letting me do anything. I want to go somewhere where I could do something.
Did you see the press release his wife released yesterday?
Is this the one where she's talking about fans and the companies being at each other's throats and stuff like that?
Yeah,
because I heard about that. Yeah.
And she had nothing but good things to say about WWE. Man, it was awesome. It was really good.
That's good. I did a podcast of the main event this past Friday, and then I recorded another podcast on the 6M podcast about the Wyatt family. So I've talked a lot about Brody this past week, but Gary, you've been in the business for a long time. When you have someone who's in this for the right reasons, who puts family first and the business second, who can't wait to get home, will take the flight that flies overnight, 3 a.m, in order to get home so he can have breakfast with his kids. We don't have enough guys like that in this business.
Nope.
And enough guys with enough heart that I get, again, like I said before, they're doing it for the right reasons. And, Brody's going to be sorely missed by his friends, his family, of course, and his fans who appreciate everything he brought to the table. So, again, we posted this on HVW's Facebook page the other day, but deepest condolences go out to the family, friends, and fans of Mr. Brodie Lee, dude. I think we just barely grazed the tip of the iceberg of what this guy was capable of doing in AEW.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, it's insane what this man could have done. And we don't know. I mean, I personally haven't seen or heard, have they gave a cause of death?
Honestly, I've heard a few things here and there, and the bad news about this whole thing is that this thing has been gotten hold of by some idiot fans. I'm gonna call it like I see it. Some idiot fans who get obsessed with stuff like that. And that's all they want to talk about. And they think they're covering up something or whatever. And, people are losing their jobs on over social media because they're running their mouth about this kind of stuff. And they should, because I think there's a fine line between, writers trying to find out, what's going on, and then people being so crazy and sensitive about it that they're crossing the line. You know what I mean? That's a long way for me to tell you, no, I don't know.
Right.
I haven't done 1 ounce of research to find out because, dude, when Eddie died, and in this, when you're a fan, all you got to do is say the name Eddie and everyone knows what you're talking about, who you're talking about. Just like if you're an NBA fan, you say the word Michael, everyone knows who you're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
So when Eddie died, the first thing out of someone's mouth that wasn't a real fan and just in conversation, because they know I'm a fan. So the minute someone passed, we got to talk to Tom. Hey, Tom, did you hear? So the first thing they want to talk about was drugs. And I'm like, it's been 3 hours. Can we just let the man be gone for a second? Why are we even talking about this? So,
And what does it matter? Even if the man did, if they found some Vicodin in his system or whatever, what does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
That don't change the fact that he stepped into that square circle and was one of the greatest performers of all time.
I agree with that. Yeah. But it's a morbid fascination we have with death as a culture. I don't have any idea why.
Right.
Nathan says he likes the shirt. It is an old school throwback shirt.
That's old school, baby. You should read the back of it. It says, often imitated, never duplicated.
I thought it was going to be kick him in the face.
No, no, that was old school, Tom.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Bobby, been doing good, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. So let's go ahead and get to this. We got to give props, and I know it's a weird segue to go from that topic to this, but I want to give props where props are due. If we're going to talk about big men in this business, let's talk about some of the big men of HVW. How about that?
Absolutely. Let's do so.
J.D. Drake, T.J. Boss, Salem Center 6, and Mitch Hurley. Man, you talk about a quartet of big men. Imagine if these 4 guys were in a faction. They would run this company, okay?
Holy smoke. What would we call them, Tom?
I don't know.
Mount Rushmore?
Maybe so.
Yeah, I don't know what we would call that faction.
I don't know, but, somewhere out there, Chris Fix is sweating just looking at those 4 names put together. So,
hey, and look, I don't know that TJ Boss would ever be okay with being in a faction with 6, and 6 drove him through the mat the last time they wrestled.
You're right, but at the same time, if Mr. Boss was showing enough money, he might be able to go along with it. So,
yes, sir.
I mean,
baby.
He's made it clear he's a businessman, and that's what he's in this for. And I can't hate on that too much. 6, we've never really known what this guy's motivations are, if I'm being honest. And, Drake is all business all the time, but he's got a lot of heart. And then there's Mitch, who's a laid-back California kid, man.
I mean, that joker's just, California dreaming, baby. Yes, California dreaming.
As chill as they come. So, kids, what we're going to do, I got a whole bunch of names here, and we'll just I'll get your thoughts, Gary, and whatnot. But if you're going to talk about the land of giants, if you're going to talk about big men in this business, you got to start at the very top.
Absolutely.
Because it don't get any bigger, better, more talented, or better than Andre the Giant.
Tom, I got to give you the very first time, the story about the first time I seen Andre wrestle.
Hit me.
You know, it was on Georgia Championship Wrestling. This joker comes to the ring. There's 5 midgets in the ring.
Oh,
And this joker is chunking midgets like baseballs. I mean, just shoo, 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 just throwing these little midgets around the ring. And I thought this was the greatest thing I'd ever seen, man. I'm like 13, maybe 12, 13. Man, it was great. I'll never forget that. Andre the Giant and the 5 midgets. And he pinned all 5 of them at one time.
just imagine putting that together. Like we have to emphasize how big he is. So let's put the little guys in there because, hey, that'll make him look even bigger. So
imagine putting that together.
that's crazy, man.
Like we have to emphasize how big
I can totally hear my voice over there, by the way.
Dude, my phone. Hold on. I'm sorry, Tom.
I mean, I sound amazing. I mean, I'm good with it. I love hearing my own voice. So
It's good.
it's Tom in stereo, kids. You know, one of the tricks that Vince would use, because he would do those interviews on the floor by the ring, like they would do in the TBS studio sometimes. Vince would take his shoes off and have Andre stand on a box to make him look even bigger, because they're trying to get people to buy tickets to come to the shows. So I mean, you know, but yeah, 8th wonder of the world. I mean, and this guy, Andre could, when he was in his younger days, he could flat out work. I mean, he couldn't just. It was more than
he definitely could execute. He could execute wrestling moves. That's for sure.
He could, and you know, he was, you know, his attitude, his temperament. You had to be an Andre guy. If he liked you, you were in. If he didn't like you, he had nothing to say to you. I mean, it's legendary with this guy, and he called everybody boss, and you know, just and the big deal they made about Hogan slamming him at WrestleMania always intrigued me, because if you had been a fan, you saw a lot of people slam Andre over the years. It was just something that happened. But
Andre done it to put guys over.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, that's the kind of guy he was, man. He could use his talent to put a mid card guy over and bring him up the card a little bit.
Absolutely. And he worked with some of the all-time greats as well. And, you know, it was sad to see his health decline and get as bad as it did in later years. The thyroid surgery that essentially saved Big Show's life, unfortunately, did not exist when Andre was alive. And if it had, he probably would have lived to be an old man, hopefully.
Right.
But I don't know what age we lost Andre. Did he make age? He got to his 50s, didn't he? Or did he?
I want to say, I think he was.
Was he in his 40s, maybe?
I don't know. You're going to make me Google that thing, Tom.
Google it.
I'm on it, brother. I'm on it.
Yeah, he was a draw, man, back in the days when it meant something to sell tickets, man. And it was, you know, the era we're living in right now. It's really not a whole lot of that happening. So, how old?
You can't see it. 46.
46. That's man, only 5 years older than Brody, dude.
Dude, a year younger than me.
Yeah. Let's move on here with the big guys, folks. Let's talk about some of the guys that fed to Andre for years. And here's a quartet for you: Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, Earthquake, One Man Gang.
Brother. Woo. I seen John Studd. John Studd went on to make a few low-budget movies later on in his career. Did you know he was in Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man?
I think I knew that.
He was Vanessa Williams' husband.
That's right. I haven't seen that movie in years.
Dude, I watched it Sunday.
Did you really?
Just chilled here at the house, flipping through Amazon Prime and found it.
Oh, dude, now I might have to go find that now. That's back when Don Johnson was trying to be an actor outside of Miami Vice, and everybody was like, whatever. And then he later on did it for real. So, you know, yeah, I'll have to go check that out, man.
But John Studd was in that movie too.
And John was one of the machines.
Right.
Andre became the giant machine. And wasn't Studd the big machine? Is that what they called him?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
And
big,
then
the big machine.
And then Bill Eadie, who was also known as Smash, and the Masked Superstar. Wasn't he Masked Superstar?
Yes.
He also became one of the machines. So put Andre in a mask and pass him off as not Andre.
Yeah, like really? That's like putting King Kong Bundy in a mask and not knowing it's King Kong Bundy.
I know, right?
That man had a one-of-a-kind body in the world of professional wrestling.
And Bundy was highly intelligent.
And he could work.
Yeah, he could.
I mean, his psychology was textbook.
Yeah.
Anybody breaking into today's wrestling that wants to wrestle old style wrestling, watch King Kong Bundy's matches.
Absolutely. And he actually was a DJ on a radio show. I think during the time or right after he got out of the ring or something like that, and had a pretty good following. So, yeah, he was a smart guy, man. John Tenta, also known as Earthquake, who later became – who did Earthquake become?
No.
Wasn't he in Kevin Sullivan's stable in WCW as well? Didn't he have a shark painted on his face, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, his gear had a shark on it.
Yeah, is that what it was?
And then it became him and Tugboat, and they were the natural disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon.
Typhoon, that's right.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Let's throw some more up here. Here's another quartet. Kamala, Viscera,
yes.
Crusher Blackwell, and Giant Baba. Giant Baba, New Japan or Japanese legend. Big guy. Crusher Blackwell, not so big as in height, but a wide guy for sure. And then
I got to be honest, Tom, I don't know those two names.
Giant Baba is a Japanese legend. Crusher Blackwell worked a lot in the AWA.
Okay.
You would know his picture if you saw him from the wrestling magazines, because he had black curly hair and a black full beard, and he always wore a black singlet with a T-shirt under it. And Blackwell was around for a while. I don't know where else he worked besides AWA. Shane says, Bam Bam, we're going to get there, brother. In fact, Giant Gonzalez is the only guy I don't have teed up, to be honest with you. And I thought about it, but George was so, man, it was not fun with him.
Giant Gonzalez. What was his first name?
That's El Gigante.
Yes, Elegante. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Whew. And Jim Ross told stories about the guy and about how every penny he made when he was over here, he was sending back home to his family.
Yep.
And that he was a really nice guy, but he didn't know what he was doing. He was not cut out for the business. He was supposed to have been an Atlanta Hawk basketball player, and he blew out his knee, I think is the story.
I did know that. Yeah, and it was like one of the worst knee injuries you could have for a basketball player.
Yeah, something he couldn't really come back from. Here's another quartet: Bam Bam Bigelow, Big Van Vader. There's your man Stan the Lariat Hansen, and of course Bruiser Brody.
Dude, when you say Lariat, you might as well call that a tree limb, because that joker would peel your head off with that thing, dude. And he caught you under the chin every time.
He's blind as a bat. Stan couldn't see.
I know.
Stan couldn't see, man. So if you're taking that Lariat, you're like crossing, doing the cross and kissing up the God. And it's like, oh God, please don't kill me.
Oh yeah, that's for sure,
dude. He and Brody made duffel bags full of money in Japan.
Oh, I know they did, dude.
I mean, they would come home with literal duffel bags piled full of cash. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that, dude.
It's insane how those guys could go over there. I mean, and they look like nothing and become just mega stars over there, man. Stan Hansen was huge in Japan.
Oh yeah, and dude, some of my favorite footage of those days is watching Bruiser go through the crowd chasing a wrestler. And dude, those fans are running out of their seats, like running, and no one's laughing. They're like, "Holy God, there he is!" And they're running.
That's crazy.
I love it.
Dude, and Bam Bam Bigelow. I mean, that's another big man that could go. I mean, that dude could. God. Dude, I've seen him work 45-minute matches, 30-minute matches, and go the whole time. Not a bunch of laying on the mat, resting, and that kind of stuff. I mean, going the whole time.
he was so good. And I'm thinking about those matches he had with Taz and ECW. Just insane. Taz did that. He did that T-bone suplex off the ramp, I think, and over the guardrail. I thought he killed him. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, crazy stuff.
Insane stuff.
Let me take a break here for a second because before we go to any more names here, you were in the ring for a long time. When it comes to working a big man, say he's pushing 7 foot, he's pushing 300 pounds, and I know we don't try to peel the curtain back too often much here, but what do you do differently in a match with a bigger guy? How did you yourself personally handle it coming from your perspective? What did you do differently?
Well, I mean, that's dude, I one of the best feuds, and the guy hates my guts, but one of the best feuds I ever had in HVW was with Big Daddy Z. You know, and Zach's a big dude, man, and it's just, you know, when you work a guy his size, and please, everybody sees this going to think I'm tooting my own horn or bragging or whatever. It's not that at all. You got to know how to utilize what he can do to make him look good. You know what I'm saying? So you know, we have to take advantage of the things that he can do, him being as big as he is, and my job is to make him look like a superstar. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
That's the way you got to look at it when you're working a big guy. You know, a lot of guys will be like, man, I don't want to work him. I can't do nothing. You know, they can't go out there and do their high spots and show off for everybody. So
get
they don't
want stuff in.
Right, get their stuff in, exactly. So yeah, it's you got to know how to use what the big man can do and showcase that.
And listen, let's call it for what it is. I don't think you're throwing shade at all, because you would do the same thing for a smaller guy.
Absolutely.
You do the same thing for someone older than you. You do the same thing for someone younger than you. You would play to their strengths and do what you could to make them look like $1 million. Is that your job?
That's exactly right. If the babyface job is to make the heel look good, you know, and
absolutely
in the HVW in HVW I worked as a babyface, so that was my job, so to make my opponents look good.
You know, we always hear about WWE as the land of the giants. Vince loves the big man. We've heard it since we were kids, and they'll probably always say that. But as a promoter yourself, does it matter to you if say that you're booking a card and you've got no one over 6'4"? I mean, are you looking for that? Do you care about it? I mean, I would imagine, and you and I have talked about this a lot in the past off of the podcast, Mike. It does make a difference what people see on the poster. So does it matter to you if you don't have a big, you know, hulking guy, or are you looking for that, or what?
You know, obviously the fans want to see those big guys, but they want to see those big guys that can wrestle, not the big guys that just come in the ring and punch and, you know, throw guys around and don't bump and don't do anything. And you know, the list of big men that you put up for HVW, any four of those guys could work on the big show. And you know they could.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
And you know, and they all four can go out there and bust their ass and do what they need to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that, man. And you said it best earlier. To me, there is a difference between here's this big lumbering guy and he can't. No one specifically, but here's a big lumbering guy and he can't really do much. But man, he's menacing and he's, you know, who am I thinking of? Now I'm drawing a blank. The Punjabi match. Big guy, Indian. He was in WWE for a long time. Could barely speak English.
The great Khali.
That's it. Khali looked like, I mean, like a mutant comic book villain come to life. but Khali couldn't do a whole lot.
No,
And it's like,
Khali could barely walk.
yeah, it was rough. And we see what they turned him into, just a dancing idiot in that company.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real quick story of one of the opportunities I got to be backstage at WWE.
Yeah.
It was the night I did Paul Bearer.
Right.
I'm backstage waiting on my spot, and for anybody that's never been back there, WWE has a full-blown catering company that travels with them. These guys are getting fed great meals 3 times a day. Well, after dinner served, catering brings tables down towards the gorilla position and puts out snack foods, fruit, chips, stuff like that.
Right.
Well, there was a family-sized bag of Doritos on that table, okay? Brand new, hadn't been opened.
Right.
So I'm sitting there waiting on my time to go up in the gorilla position, getting ready. Khali walks up to the table, takes that bag of Doritos and opens it up. And he reaches in with that big old hand. Dude, it looks like a catcher's mitt. And he grabbed a handful of those Doritos and pulled it out and laid that bag back down. And I thought, holy crap. And I just kind of made my way over to the table and looked in that bag. And I bet you there wasn't 10 chips left in it.
Wow.
And it was a brand hammer new bag, dude. He took the whole bag with one handful.
Wow. That's crazy.
His hands are huge.
Right. He had a great look. I can't argue that. And he was in shape for a guy his size.
Yeah, he was.
I just, I wish he could have done more. And, I mean, it is what it is. But, honestly, if I'm a promoter and I've got the money and I see him, I'd probably sign him. I'd find something to do with him. I mean,
dude, he's a circus sideshow. Put his picture on a poster and see if people don't come and see him.
Oh my God, absolutely.
It's that simple.
If nothing else, just have him walk out uninvited in the middle of a match and lay them all out. I mean, it's an impact,
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, we've done that before, man. I mean, I remember in the second building of HVW, we had Greg the Hammer Valentine come in for an autograph signing one time and had him just hit the ring and drop some guys, and it went over. The fans didn't care if he wrestled. He just went in and dropped a couple elbows and did his thing, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ryan says, wasn't there a match where Vader's eye popped out? Yeah, he was working Foley, wasn't he?
In Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. And I also remember Abdullah the Butcher popping Wahoo McDaniel's eye out on TV.
Oh, how come I don't remember this?
Hey, dude, I promise you can look that up. That happened on NWA, Saturdays at 12.
Yeah.
Wahoo's in the corner. Abdullah's gouging on him with an ice pick, and his eye pops out of socket.
Oh.
And the show goes off the air with Wahoo's eye dangling out of the eye socket.
Oh, man.
Yes, sir.
That's a horror show right there, buddy. I can't.
I'll never forget that.
God, I don't even remember that ever happening, dude. I'm glad now I didn't see it. Let's see. When we're talking about big guys, we got to acknowledge not just big as in wide and big and stout, but the muscled up guys, Hawk and Animal, Barbarian and Warlord.
Dude, you got skyscrapers right there, brother. All 4 of those guys were way beyond their time as far as, bulk and muscle in the wrestling business.
Yeah. I remember Warlord coming out to War Machine by Kiss on the 605 program on Saturdays. And who
with Paul Jones, right?
You see, didn't he have a lady manager at one point, or am I not remembering that right? Maybe it was just Paul Jones. I want to say Dark Journey, but that's not right. I don't remember. Maybe it was just Paul Jones. But yeah, he God, the first time I laid eyes on him, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, he was a monster, dude. He was big.
And he stayed in shape. I think he's still in shape. I mean, he's And you and I both have been in locker rooms with Barb before. Barb is one of the coolest guys ever. Very soft-spoken, very humble, very nice.
We've had Barb at HVW about 4 times, I think.
Yeah, not to ruin it for you kids, but he's actually a really nice guy. So
yes, sir. Hey, look at Shane Odom's comment.
Let's go. Let me go back.
The last comment.
Just like Sid Vicious off the top rope. Oh, my God.
You remember that, Tom?
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Yeah, dude, I'll never forget that. Me and my dad was watching that together that night. Shane, you're right, brother. That's one of those unforgettable moments.
I can't watch it. If I've ever teed it up on YouTube,
that Joker's leg was bent just like this, Tom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If I ever tee it up on YouTube to show someone, I'll hold my phone away from my face and say, look.
Yeah.
It looks CG. It doesn't even look real.
He's such a big guy, man. He come off the middle rope and put all of his weight on his shin bone.
Yeah.
What do you expect to happen?
He claims he was told to do that, to try that move by one of the producers, one of the bookers in the back, one of the guys. That's what he claims, what he was told. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know, man.
But that's the dumbest crap ever. You see, no one else has ever tried that before because, it's dumb. He was lucky he ever walked again, much less wrestle. So,
well, dude, from a worker's point of view, I honestly think he was supposed to drop kick off the middle rope and chicken shit it out to take the back bump off the middle rope and tried to put his leg down and catch himself.
He could have.
I think that's what happened.
That's man. Yeah, that's graphic. That's one of those graphic injuries, man. I just can't even watch that.
Oh yeah, dude. It just
terrible. What about this one? Yokozuna, the big boss man, the big cat on the lad, and Rikishi.
Dude, Yokozuna, Rikishi, both of those guys could move to be their size, man. They moved better than any people their size I'd ever seen.
Absolutely.
And Ray Traylor is just a beast, just a monster.
So talented, so fast.
Oh, man, the way he would fall and bounce off the middle rope like Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah. If he was off the cuff cutting a promo, I can't say it was the best thing I ever heard. In WWE, when it was produced, he was fine. But in WCW, I don't think being on the mic was his strength. But
no,
I don't know that he had to be. I mean, he was – and, he got a second life, a second shot when they put him in the Riot gear looking like the Shield 10 years before the Shield did it.
Yeah.
They put him with Mr. McMahon. And I was like, wow, he's totally reinvented himself, man. I actually love that part of his gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, and he, they wasn't doing nothing with Big Bubba. He was just a bodyguard thing. They wasn't really working him or doing anything with him. So yeah, you're right. He got a second chance.
Yeah, and you're right what you said, man. He, I was going to call him underrated. I don't think he's underrated. I think any fan that ever saw him would tell you, man, this guy was great because he was.
Oh, yeah, he was great, and yeah, he was a great talent.
And leave it to Dusty, of course. Leave it to Dusty to see this guy from a mile away and say, I can do something with him. He's special. And he was right, I mean, if you'd seen Bubba from a mile away as a booker, would you have known? I mean, but Dusty saw it. And he's like, oh, my God, I can't wait to get him over here. Let's do something with him. And he was totally right.
Hey, dude, as a promoter myself, I see people out in public all the time that I think, dude, I need to get that dude in the business. You know what I'm saying?
I do it all the time.
I see it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be in a store or the store or whatever, and I'm like, that's a big boy right there. Wonder what he does for a living. Like, I can't help it.
Yeah, I get it, dude.
Yeah, I've always done that. Yeah, I'm with you, especially now. I'm going in forwards. Can you tell? Mark Henry, Typhoon, Umaga, Abdullah the Butcher.
Mark Henry absolutely amazes me the way he moves for his size, man. I mean, that Joker is unreal. The bumps he takes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way he can flip around in that ring to be as big as he is unreal.
Crazy. And Mark had when he turned, and the night he won the title from Randy Orton, and that crowd was stunned. And you could see them looking at each other. I love to go back and watch that match because when he hits the world's strongest slam and pins Randy, people are looking at each other like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, they wasn't expecting that at all.
So good, and he was so underrated on the mic that night when he came out like he was going to retire, and was crying and said, "Daddy's coming home," and then he slammed John out of nowhere, and I'm like, "Yes!" Couldn't help myself, man. I popped over that, and he like I said, man, he's very underrated.
I agree.
Typhoon, who we've already talked about, who was the former tugboat. Typhoon much better than him, in my opinion, versus a grown man going like this.
Oh, how did he make his debut?
I don't remember. You're gonna have to refresh my memory.
WCW Saturday nights.
Mm-hmm.
The Horsemen's cutting or they're in when they had like the living room setting and Flair's out there doing the promo and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember, he comes busting through the wall and his helmet comes off.
My God.
Remember that?
Vaguely.
Yeah, that was Typhoon.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part is a lot of the guys we're talking about here today are no longer with us, unfortunately. And I think, isn't Typhoon one of them? He's been gone for a while, hasn't he?
I think he has. And they're a nice transition into Umaga, gone way before his time.
Oh, I agree with that. Totally.
That Joker was so talented, man. And oh my gosh. But I bet you he was a stiff wrestler. His stuff looked so stiff and hard when you watch it. I mean, it was believable. That's for sure.
Oh, and that's what more can you ask for, right? I mean,
right.
Make it look good. I never cared for the gimmick. I'm one of those guys that, because Vince sees a Samoan and says, "Hey, pal, let's strip him barefoot and call him an animal."
Yeah.
I mean, no wonder it took Samoa Joe a long time to get to that company. And I don't know if this was in his head or not, but if I'm Joe, I'm looking at that company for years going, I'm not going to do that. I'm an intelligent guy. Why would I? Not that Umaga wasn't, but like, why would I go play a Savage Islander? What? I don't want to do that. But yeah, I don't get it, man.
Man, a lot of those guys are just looking for that big opportunity, man, and they're willing to do whatever they tell them to do to get it,
I agree with that. What's your take on Abdullah? Now, I ask you a lot of questions in terms of what do you do as a promoter? I mean, let's say Abdullah was in his prime right now or close to it. I mean, how do you book him? Or can you?
There again, that's another one of those just circus sideshow things, man. Yeah, that's you build him up as an attraction, and that's what you use him for. You don't ever make him lose. You don't ever beat him up. You just let him go out there and squash a couple people, get the fans excited. Let him do his whole gimmick, and that's what you do. And that's what draws the tickets or draws the money, right?
I mean, the question is, how much do you let him do? I mean, every time he shows up, it's a bloodbath. He never.
It can't be like that, but yeah,
no. He never worked for Vince, did he? Am I wrong?
I don't think Abdullah ever worked for WWE or WWF.
Because I don't think he would have.
Yeah, that's a little much, man. He's got a great restaurant in Atlanta.
Does he really?
Yeah, some of the best ribs you'll ever eat.
Wow.
It's called Abdullah's.
Well, there you go. Makes perfect sense to me.
Yes, sir.
Now, we're going to get into some serious guys here. Some people argue Undertaker's best big man of all time. I would submit it's hard to argue that point.
Watch the match with Shawn Michaels, and you can't argue that point.
So they did back-to-back Manias. Which one? Either one?
I think it's the first one where he surprised me. Because nobody expected that performance, and he come out and did it. And the second one, obviously we're going to do it, but that I don't know, dude. If you watch that match and deny that he's one of the best big men in the business, yeah, obviously Kane as well.
Yeah, and they could pass for brothers in terms of their height. They had almost identical builds during that time. The first time I saw Kane, I was freaked out, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I mean, and I was supposed to think that, and it worked.
What was his first gimmick?
He was the dentist.
Dr. Isaac Yankem.
Yeah. Now before he was Yankem, he was somebody else.
Really? I only remember the dentist gimmick.
Well, he was with Cornette first, I think, in Ohio Valley.
Oh, okay.
As somebody. And then they brought him up and made him a dentist. Because the minute they did that, Cornette's like, what are you doing with this guy? He's great. Why are you,
yeah. Dude, who does this? Yeah.
I know. I can't remember what he was. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue now. The name.
It was a gimmick before the dentist?
Yeah.
In Ohio Valley.
Yep. And I cannot remember. Shane, tell me the gimmick, man. Shane's my guy. He'll come up with it. I don't want to do it.
Just reading some of Shane's comments, he's definitely an old school wrestling guy, dude. He's brought up names that I hadn't thought about in years.
God, I cannot remember to save my life now. Sid Vicious, we've already talked about. I don't know if I've ever seen a guy with a better body in the history of this business than Sid Vicious.
That Joker was for his height. You're right. I mean, he was proportioned. He was defined. Yeah, you're exactly right.
And he was Lord Humongous.
Ginormous.
He was Lord Humongous in Southeast Championship Wrestling.
Yes.
And he was tagging with Bill Eadie, who was calling himself Detroit Demolition after he'd already left WWF. And they were a tag team, I think, in Southeast Championship Wrestling. And Sid was wearing a hockey mask. He was looking like Lord Humongous from the Mad Max film. And that was his gimmick.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a long time ago. Kevin Nash, where do you fall on Kevin? Because he gets his reputation, it depends on who you ask or what time of day it is. It goes back and forth. What's your thoughts on Kevin Nash? Big Sexy.
I think if Kevin Nash is in a match with someone that can lead him, he has great matches. He's not a ringleader.
Not a general.
Yeah, I don't think he's a ring general. I don't think he can lead a match. That's just my opinion. I've seen times where obviously he's the veteran in the ring and the match just not flow the way it should. And then you see matches where, he in the ring with like Shawn Michaels or somebody like that, and the match just flows. And his size is utilized the way it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People that's not in the business, that's never been in the business, they don't understand what really happens when you put a match on.
Right.
And there's a chemistry there.
Oh yeah, there has to be.
And some guys just aren't made to lead matches. They're great wrestlers, they're just not ring generals.
Absolutely right. I wanted to get a little bit more current with some of the references here, so I'm leading us up to the present day. Lance Archer, Samoa Joe, Eric Rowan, and Jake Hager. There's a quartet for you too, man. Archer,
I'm not a Joe guy.
No, why is that?
I'm just not a Joe guy. I don't like his look. I just don't like the gimmick. I'm just not a Joe guy.
Anything about it in particular, just his look and his gimmick, or?
Huh?
What about his work?
His work's not bad in the ring. I get he's just one of those guys I'm just not a fan of,
I get you. Fair enough. He spent a lot of time in Ring of Honor, a lot of time.
Right.
And, I remember after he'd worked Punk one night that Foley was there as a guest, and he got in the ring and cut this promo and said, I'd love for one day to see both these guys in WWE. And, of course, the Ring of Honor crowd booed him. But he said, listen, I know you're booing. He said, but I'd love to see them in that company if for no other reason so the whole world can see what these two guys can do. And I'm like, the way he said it makes a lot of sense because, you compare Ring of Honor's viewership to WWE, and it's a world of difference, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I get it. Dude, there's so much talent that'll never get that opportunity to get in front of that worldly crowd. You know what I mean?
I agree with that to a certain extent, but now with it being the way it is with social media, with the streaming channels, with YouTube, I mean, a lot of these guys are getting noticed. And how many times have one of the bigger companies heard about somebody online and took a look at them because their YouTube channel blew up? They had a match in East Tennessee in front of 10 people, but they looked amazing, and
right. But these guys are self-promoting themselves. They're selling themselves.
Very true. Which you have to do on our level.
Absolutely.
Oh, Shane, you're killing me. I forgot about Bam Bam Terry Gordy. My God.
He's one of the free birds, baby.
I know, dude. I told you I was going to forget somebody here. Eric Rowan, the word around town is that his appearance on Dynamite the other night on the Brody Lee tribute was maybe just a one-off. I hope that's incorrect because I love Eric, and I'd like to see him get a shot. Jake Hager is undefeated in his MMA career. I mean, people have an opinion on him too, but dude, I can't say anything negative about Jake Hager. I think he's tough as nails. In fact, I know he is.
Well, you definitely don't want to piss a guy his size off that's an MMA fighter. I mean, that's for sure. Good Lord, he'd rip you apart.
Got one of the best poker faces, one of the best stares. I mean, just ice cold.
WWE didn't know how to use him either. They
had him smiling all the time.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. But what he did for that company, he made the best of what they were doing with him. He's a great talent.
That We the People stuff, he got that. I mean,
shit was hot.
He and Zen Culture came up with that. They did that on their own, and it got over like crazy.
Dutch Mantel.
Yes, Dirty Dutch.
Dirty Dutch.
One day we'll do a special on the hairiest guys in the business. And
dude, that Joker will be right there. My daddy used to call that Joker Harry Mac.
Well, there you go. It was him and in the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yes.
Mantel and Bobby Jaggers.
Yep, the Kansas Jayhawks.
I remember when they came into Crockett, and I was like, they didn't look like, big time, but they were a breath of fresh air to me. I'm like, these guys are cool. Like, as a kid, I loved them. Like, they were all and didn't crack jokes and didn't smile or laugh.
Yeah, they were just beating people's butts.
So good, man. I got to go look some of that stuff up.
Hey, a big man tag team you forgot.
Hit me.
The Moondogs, Rex and Spot.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even think about those guys.
They're not super gigantic, but they were bigger guys,
Shane hit me with another good one.
John Nord, the Berserker. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The other Barbarian.
Yeah, he looked like the daddy on How to Train My Dragon.
Herf. The whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
But it was great. He was WWF without even being in WWF. He already had that gimmick. He already had that look. He already had the character, and you just thought he was crazy, and he had that wild look in his eyes. And yeah, it's good stuff.
Black Bart.
Black Bart. I didn't get Bart in here either.
Black Bart, Tom.
Did he have the longest reign as Mid-Atlantic champion? I'm wanting to say he did.
That Joker was the Mid-Atlantic champion for a long time.
Yeah.
Dude, he was coming on WCW Saturday night and losing matches and was still the Mid-Atlantic champion.
He was. Yeah, you're right. You can't talk about this as we start off with Andre without mentioning Big Show. Braun Strowman, Wardlow, Luchasaurus, a newer name for kids out there, Jeff Cobb, and Walter. And, dude, if you don't know much of Walter in NXT UK, dude, I encourage you to go to YouTube and look up his stuff because he's – dude, I love this guy. He's so good. He's so big, but he's tough as nails, works snug. I mean, dude, he's an absolute beast. I love him.
I'll have to look him up because I'm not familiar with him either, Tom.
Dude, the chops, big hands. Dude, I have seen him one chop, and I can't imagine taking it. It must be like having a heart attack. And plus, a lot of times when he chops, he's either back like Flair, he's dead on forward, but he'll catch you here around the neck and down the chest. And I've seen guys purple from their neck all the way down to the corner, just from chops. And he's not trying to kill anybody. It's just
Right.
what he does. It's his shtick. But, dude, he'll take whatever you give him. And for
I'll
a guy
have to check him out for sure.
You'll be crazy impressed with his work. Trust me. Big Show. We've said a lot about Big Show over the years, but talk about a guy that got put on TV way before his time, got given a lot of stuff in WCW that he hadn't earned, and then got to WWF and had to actually start earning it. He lost the weight, got himself in terrific shape over the years, rose to the occasion. I would think Big Show would be in the top 5 best big men of all time. I believe that.
Just the dude can wrestle. I mean, he, as big as he is, I mean, he's had some great matches. And I'm not a Lesnar fan, but the superplex that collapsed the ring on SmackDown, that's the greatest spot ever in WWE history, I think. I mean, that was awesome.
The first time, you're right. But they've done it like 5 times now, and I'm like, stop.
Yeah, the first time, it was like, wow, that was cool. But, after that, obviously they've rigged the ring to collapse.
Oh, of course. One more thing about Walter. When you go to YouTube, look up Walter versus Jordan Devlin.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Is that his name, Walter?
Yeah, it's Walter something, and I can't remember his last name. But he faced Jordan Devlin in it's a company in England, and I can't remember. God, I'm blanking on the name of the company right now. Over the top rope wrestling. Over the top rope wrestling, I think. But it's a smaller building, smaller venue. Jordan Devlin was a hometown hero. I can't say enough good things about it. Wardlow, I've seen some Wardlow stuff before he got to AEW, and since he's been there, the matches he has worked, dude, he's good.
Dude, I like this Luchasaurus dude. I mean, he works great too to be as big as he is.
Same here. Jeff Cobb, he's now wrestling exclusively for New Japan. I don't even know if he's doing Ring of Honor shots anymore. AEW wanted him, he told him no. WWE supposedly sent out feelers, he told him no. He wanted to work in Japan. He had a great match last night / this morning with a guy named Shingo Takagi. And we got to find a way for you to see that match. It is freaking phenomenal. You'd love every second of it. Hard hitting, smash mouth, but good technical stuff too. It's awesome. 2 big guys just slamming into each other, man. It was a great match.
That's awesome.
Those are all the names I got for you, kids. I'm sure we've got some other folks chiming in. What's up? This, my friend, is Down Under David. David Griffiths is in Australia with us right now, my friend. So there you go.
What's up?
Yeah, man. He watches the main event.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining us.
The Mod Squad. So, Gary, you know a little something about the Mod Squad, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shane's got some stories there, brother. Let me just tell you. Excuse me, Gary's got some stories there, Shane. Let me tell you for sure.
Yeah, well, that's another day, another time.
Give him a little something though. Anyway, I've already set you up here.
Tom, you calling me out and you made me go blank.
The Mod Squad had a manager, and you know a little something about that manager because he showed up in HVW for a while and things didn't go great.
Mr. JD Costello.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's all we'll say about that.
Another day, Shane. Another day. Joe LeDuc was a monster in Memphis. That guy scared the crap out of me. There you go. I'd forgotten that name, Joe LeDuc, if I'm being honest with you. Totally forgot that name. Who else you got, man? I'm sure I forgot some other guys.
He wasn't like he's not like a super ginormous big man, but Booker T is not a little dude.
No, he's not.
And that dude could work. Booker T could work.
He's still in phenomenal shape.
I know he is.
He's a guest star in a rap video right now. And he looks
Really?
amazing. Yeah, dude. He looks amazing.
That's cool. I always liked Booker, man. I really did.
Dude, I remember when they gave him the title in WCW, and I was legit crazy happy.
Oh, I was too, man.
And that was before the curtain really got peeled back for any of us. It was just on the verge of it happening. Social media wasn't really blowing up yet. But without even knowing his backstory, I'm like, I really like this. Like, it's different. And it's, I don't know. Something about the guy. Charisma, I think, is the best word for it.
Oh, dude, another tag team. We talked about Sid Vicious, but what about Sid Vicious and Danny Spivey? The skyscrapers? Yeah. Dan Spivey could work, dude.
Yes, he could.
That dude could go.
And Sid replaced Mark Calloway, who became the Undertaker.
Right, exactly.
So yeah.
That's right. It did. It was Mark Calloway and Dan Spivey when it first started. That's right. And he did the heart punch.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. That was his finish, was the heart punch.
And Dan Spivey became Waylon Mercy later on.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
So Waylon Mercy in WWF was like the precursor to Bray Wyatt. He had long, straggly hair, a beard. He wore kind of like he lived in a swamp or something, and it was kind of a years earlier version of Bray Wyatt. I mean, a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of the same idea.
Look at Shane's last comment. I hadn't thought about that name in forever.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that either.
Wow.
One thing's for sure. When the WWF got small, and that was done by design, kids, because, steroid trial, they got small and decided to go with Brett and Shawn. Business was greatly affected by that. When the big guys were no longer the focus, and a lot of them kind of fell out of favor and disappeared for a while because they had to, and that company got small, and it affected business because people were used to seeing the big, muscled up, burly guys in these matches. And it's about retraining your fans, re-educating your fan base as to here's who we're putting out there, here's who we're spotlighting, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of, here's who we have. And today it's different, obviously, because you can have a roster full of cruiserweights and still draw money.
There's a fan for every style out there these days,
I agree with that. You
got old school fans, you got hardcore fans, you got strong style fans, you got this, there's just a million different varieties out there now.
Absolutely. Shannon mentioned the one-man gang. We have mentioned Gang. Gang later became Hakeem.
Really?
It's
War is little. Wasn't he part of the Nation of Domination?
No, he was. Hakeem was. Wasn't he part of Heenan's family? Or was it? Downtown Bruno, man.
Oh, man.
They were calling him Harvey Whippleman. I think it was.
Yeah. The little skinny black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now that's Slick.
Slick is who he was with.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Slick. He had that blue and yellow thing on and wore that yeah. I like the one-man gang much better.
Here's what you say about one-man gang becoming Hakeem.
Hot garbage.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
Well, we are coming up on the hour mark, kids. Before we get out of here, I would love to tell you, as I say to you all the time, I'd love to tell you that we have some concrete plans in place. You guys know we had to cancel our January 30th return. Unfortunately, it's not just the state of North Carolina. The whole country's on the uptick again. Off topic, but they didn't even know if Wrestle Kingdom was going to happen the last 2 nights in Japan because that country's blowing up. So, not just here in the States, but for there in any country dealing with this, we hope everybody's doing the right thing and trying to be safe, trying to protect themselves and each other. HVW will be back in 2021. It's going to happen. We just have to find the right date, and we have to find the right circumstances and the right safety protocols, because we have to be safe. We all have families at home that depend on us. We have to be sure that we're doing the right thing, and we want our fans to be safe too as well. Yes?
Absolutely. That's the number one priority. But we won't do anything halfway. If we can't do it 100%, we're not going to do it.
Absolutely. But listen, as always, as we say to you guys all the time, as we've been saying to you for 2 years here, coming up on 2 years, it's crazy. I cannot believe this year is 2 years since we started this thing back up.
Yeah.
This fall, it's insane.
Yeah.
The conversations this fall began 2 years ago. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, as we say all the time, follow us on social media. We will keep you updated as often as we can in terms of, what the date is, when are we coming back, where are we coming back, all that good stuff. Terry showed up late to the party. Everyone, this is our esteemed ring announcer, Mr. Terry Hudson.
Yes, sir. Thanks for joining, Terry. We'll be back at it sometime this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get back on track, man. It'll take us a little bit of time, but as Gary said before, we don't want to do anything halfway. Go big or go home, baby. That's what we do.
That's right.
So we're going to get out of here. Gary, as always, thanks for joining us, my friend. I do appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for all you do for the social media world of High Velocity Wrestling, and just thank you for being a friend.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you as well. We're going to get out of here, folks. Everybody have a great night. Have a great rest of your week. Stay tuned. We will see you next time. Thanks again for hanging out. We'll see you next time. High Velocity Wrestling Official Podcast.